In just the next 100 days, Bitcoin could surge to 150K or even $200,000 and beyond. The financial system is collapsing, sovereign debt is imploding, and global giants are quietly stacking Bitcoin faster than you can say hyperinflation. Welcome back, I'm Rustin, and today we're breaking down exactly why Bitcoin is about to make the biggest move in financial history. Send it!
Well, what happens if it stops going up? It's like, well, what happens if water stops flowing downhill? What happens if time goes backwards, right? What happens if the law of thermodynamics no longer holds? What happens when people decide they want less secure things rather than more secure things? What happens when they want crappy stuff instead of good stuff, right? It's not going to happen, right? There's a natural progression here, which is intelligent people are moving their money from a more disordered state to a less disordered state, from a shorter life expectancy container to a longer life expectancy container. They're moving from an unsafe place to a safer place.
Bitcoin is number go up technology. You do not stop. The honey badger. And Timothy Peterson agrees he just dropped a bombshell using historical patterns from NASDAQ rebounds and volatility indexes. Bitcoin could realistically surge to $150,000 within the next 100 days. And this analyst Mags doubled down with Fibonacci analysis, whatever the hell that is, marking a potential $207,701 as her ultimate bull target. Still pretty bearish to me. But hey, you gotta start somewhere, and Bitcoin has just smashed its all-time weekly close record, hitting 107,115 bucks. Over $500 million liquidated, including a whale making $12 million on a 40x long. It's absolute carnage for the bears. And Larry Fink don't play around. BlackRock now holds a staggering 631,962 BTC, worth a humble $65 billion in its ETF. And Eric Trump has confirmed sovereign wealth funds and the biggest corporations are racing to secure their Bitcoin positions.
Everybody. I hear it from sovereign wealth funds. I hear it from the wealthiest families. I hear it from the biggest companies. I mean, the adoption of it is incredible. I told this story, I was at MENA in Abu Dhabi, and I told this story right before I got there. A good buddy of mine runs one of the biggest banks in America. You can probably guess which one it is. They run a very, very large office for that bank in the wealthiest suburb of New York, right, in Greenwich, Connecticut. And he always said, a year ago, he was saying, hey, Bitcoin's funny money. Crypto's funny money. The other day, he goes, Eric, where do I buy this incredible kind of, cryptocurrency? Where do I buy Bitcoin? How do I get into this world? And so every single day, guys, I'm telling you, people who were kind of staunchly against it, people who didn't understand it, people who were closed-minded, people who were kind of rhinos to traditional finance are coming around in a massive way. And I think the kind of spike in Bitcoin is going to be significant. And therefore, it really is kind of a race to the top right now. There's a lot of people who are running very, very hard at this mission. And I promise you, we're going to beat them in that marathon.
Uh-oh. Japan's prime minister just admitted systemic insolvency with a debt-to-GDP ratio of 260%. Japan was the world's financial canary in the coal mine, and it's dead! The yen carry trade is unraveling, signaling a global bond market apocalypse. Analysts warn if you thought COVID stimulus was wild, wait until you see the bond market implode. The Fed just injected $43.6 billion into the bond market. $8.8 billion in a single day into 30-year bonds. Josh Mann and Lawrence Lepard warn. The hidden QE is the janitor cleaning up Congress's fiscal mess, but the rug they're sweeping debt under is running out fast. And check this out. Analyst Willie Woo says Bitcoin will dominate for the next 20 years, outperforming all traditional assets. But you want some bull juice? Here we go. Bitwise CIO Matt Hogan is even more bullish, claiming Bitcoin will rocket to 200,000 bucks because 95% of investable money still hasn't even touched Bitcoin.
Have, $30+ trillion that is just getting exposure now. I think it's straight up for, the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was on a panel yesterday with Dan Moorhead from Pantera, and he said we haven't even seen basically like half of Bitcoin's upside yet. He said there's a lot of room to grow, so you would agree with that?
Hugely, right? 95% of all Bitcoin is already owned, and 95% of investable money doesn't own any Bitcoin. And I think the collision of those two facts leads to much higher prices. I think we're in a multi-year bull market as this institutional wave of capital comes in.
Straight up for the next 5 years. Now we got some massive adoption and bull juice coming your way. But before we bring it home today, look at our likes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp. And remember, it's the users who determine what Bitcoin is. Learn how to run a node and don't get caught holding IOUs. Refuse to be placed in a digital gulag and get your Bitcoin off exchanges. Self-custody is the revolution. Visit thebitcoinway.com and begin your journey towards sovereignty today. And if you're looking to get started, you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation using that link in the show notes. Are you absolutely sick of being surrounded by fiat normies? You ever try to tell your friends that Ron Paul was right all along? And they just ask if you caught the game last night. Oh yeah, and are you heading to the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas? Sure, you know what you're doing during the conference hours, but what are you doing after 5 p.m.? Hopefully not hanging with normies. Didn't get invited to Michael Saylor's after party? Well, we've got your problem solved. The Orange Pill app, the single largest repository of Bitcoin-only events in the world. Connect with over 16,000 other Bitcoiners in real life. Bitcoin is better with friends, and now you can zap them instantly all in one app. What are you waiting for? Download the Orange Pill app today, go hit a meetup, and who knows? The connections you make could last a lifetime.
Just a couple of things why we may not actually be bullish enough. Number one, proliferation of capital into the public markets for things related to Bitcoin and other assets. Kraken is going public, would be an example, but other companies are going public. American BTC spinning out of Hut 8 as an example. Yep. So there's a lot more capital in the space, which means it's going to eventually flow into things like Bitcoin and a Solana. Number two, copycats that are out there of strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy. There's a proliferation of those. You have the selling cycle. John, how long have you been on Wall Street?
Since 1984.
Okay, all right, so I've been, just like you, I'm 89, so there's a combined 70 years here. We're both lying about our age, don't look us up on Wikipedia. But what I'm getting to is we both know that Wall Street is a selling machine. And BlackRock is just turned on the dial of thousands of consultants going out there. And so you saw on April, after quote-unquote Liberation Day, Bitcoin sort of was not super correlated to the Mag 7 and others. So I'm just wondering, proliferation of capital, copycats, introduction of wider regulation, Wall Street selling machine for these ETFs and other products, we may not be bullish enough.
We're not bullish enough. Case in point, Giga Chad has done it again. That's right. He bought more coin right after a class action lawsuit was filed. Giga Chad said, "I'll smile in the courtroom and buy you a wardrobe." Why? Because maybe he knows what's coming.
Bitcoin is the one universally acknowledged commodity. If we let banks in the United States use Bitcoin and custody it and sell it and buy it and loan against it, if the United States government begins to hold it in a strategic reserve, the beneficiary will be America.
If you could talk to President Trump and say, here's the one thing I would tell you to do to ensure that America leads the way in the crypto space, what would you tell him?
I would say he's already done the first thing, which is highlight Bitcoin as a store of value, as digital gold, and put the United States support behind a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The second thing is to support the creation in law of a legitimate path for issuers in the United States to issue digital tokens, digital securities, and digital currency. Because if American companies can create those digital assets, we will become bankers to the world.
What does the future look like to you with Bitcoin, with cryptocurrency in general? Where do you see it 5, 10, or even 100 years from now?
I think big tech is going to embrace Bitcoin. They're going to let you hold your Bitcoin on your iPhone, on your Android phone. It will find its way into Microsoft software, Amazon software, Google, Apple software. I think that banks are going to embrace Bitcoin. So your bank's going to give you a loan against your Bitcoin. It'll buy Bitcoin for you. Insurance companies will start to support Bitcoin. I think families will increasingly begin to see it as their savings account. The yoga studio, the restaurant, the hotel chain, they'll be able to raise capital in order to improve their business and to innovate. And I think that sound money, that will spread through South America, Africa, Asia, it'll treasure China. So I think the future is American values, American technology, not just making America great, but also spreading economic prosperity to the entire world.
Well, Michael Saylor, I want to say thank you. Thanks for breaking it down for us, making it more palatable, I think, to the average person to understand and feel comfortable with, because it really does feel like this is the future, this is where we're headed, and thanks for joining us for a little bit.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And boom, Panama City Mayor Meyer Mizrachi just teased a Bitcoin reserve powered by the hydroelectric energy. Max Kaiser called it. El Salvador's geothermal and Panama's hydroelectric are powering the Bitcoin revolution. Game theory is spreading like wildfire.
Muchas gracias, presidente. Estimados colegas diputados y pueblo panameño que nos escucha, en ejercicio de la iniciativa consagrada en la Constitución Política de la República de Panamá y en el artículo 108 del Reglamento Orgánico del Régimen Interno de esta Asamblea, presento ante este Pleno un anteproyecto de ley visionario que busca crear un marco regulatorio para el uso de criptomonedas y la promoción de la economía digital en Panamá. No estamos hablando del futuro, estamos hablando del presente. Con esta ley buscamos que se cree un marco regulatorio donde se pueda desarrollar el uso de las criptomonedas en Panamá y se desarrollen estas tecnologías, que lo que buscamos es brindar seguridad jurídica y transparencia, atraer inversiones y crecimiento económico, incentivos para la innovación y el emprendimiento de estos sectores financieros. Panamá, por su posición geográfica, no solamente es un hub tecnológico, sino que buscamos que Panamá sea referente de Latinoamérica en este punto. Hemos visto cómo países vecinos como Colombia recientemente también pasaron un anteproyecto que tiene que ver con el uso de criptomonedas y Panamá no puede quedarse atrás. Así que, honorables colegas, hagamos historia. Aprobar este marco regulatorio significa darle a Panamá una ventaja estratégica y digital en estas economías digitales. Es hora de actuar, regular y avanzar hacia el futuro. El futuro es ahora. Muchas gracias, presidente.
Man saw it all coming in 2014.
You know, people talk about we need a Bitcoin Shangri-La. You know, we need a place, a country that will, instead of fighting Bitcoin, embrace it for what it is. It's a fantastic, cheap way to send money. It's a store of value, and it's a growth industry in itself. It creates jobs. Obviously, in New York and San Francisco or anywhere in the United States are going to resist it because you've got an entrenched oligopoly. They're going to resist it in Europe. But in place like Cyprus, is Cyprus going to be the country that says, you know what, we're going to be the Switzerland of crypto, or talk about it?
The way I see Bitcoin is sort of like a benign virus. It's going to where the resistance is least. And there's several places where the cloud could hit the earth, and it could be Cyprus. We can also think about countries like Panama, like Hong Kong, Switzerland. I mean, time will tell, but what's for sure, I think it's going to be small countries that are nimble, that offer a lot of freedom, economic freedom, and maybe have a background already in technology.
Right. Let's talk about what it means to be born in the crypto cloud. What do you get if you're born into this crypto cloud? You get, you know, I would say off the top of my head, just to get this ball rolling here, you get a real currency with a store of value that's a limited supply, that's similar to gold. You get transactions that are near zero in terms of cost. You get, well, how would you expand on that?
Well, you might also get accounting that's very airtight, where not necessarily everybody could see everything that goes on inside, but where you can prove mathematically that there is no fraud in the system, which is amazing for emerging economies. We can have, think about all the startup city projects that are out there that are thinking about a city in a box. Well, what if there's a country that wants to bootstrap an economy? They can use those concepts and add crypto to it and really create something quite amazing, like an instant Hong Kong kind of situation. You bring in the knowledge from outside, and you just and that's how you create a lot of international tax competition and those kind of things.
In Tokyo-based Metaplanet smashed Q1 revenue records, earning $6 million with Bitcoin accounting for 88% of profits. They now hold nearly 7,000 BTC, becoming Asia's largest Bitcoin treasury. Japan's financial crisis is the first domino in a global sovereign unwind. Central banks are panicking. The Fed is quietly printing, and Michael Saylor says Bitcoin will soon be backed by banks, governments, and big tech. Bitcoin isn't just an inflation hedge. It's your exit from a collapsing fiat system. Bitcoin is your lifeboat. Why do you think Bill Miller says Bitcoin will flip gold's $20 trillion market cap?
One of the most important things to keep in mind is if you just look at Bitcoin, it doesn't matter, right? Bitcoin doesn't care. It's back in the six figures with a lot of room to go. If you compare its primary functional use case, which is actually a check and a balance on the lack of accountability in fiat unit creation, we still have a long way to go. So gold is a 20 trillion market cap. Bitcoin is still 2 trillion despite functional superiority to gold. It's much harder to steal, much easier to store, much easier to instantly transport, and more importantly, you can actually audit it. So I don't know if you saw it, but there's an estimate that said that auditing Fort Knox would take 44,000 hours and approximately 18 months to complete. I think it'd be a lot nicer for the American people if they could just go to a handful of auditable Bitcoin addresses on a blockchain explorer and see exactly where the American people's Bitcoin is.
And you heard the Bitwise CIO say Bitcoin will surge nonstop for the next 5 years. Green, 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 green. Remember this, the digital gold rush ends January 7th, 2035. Don't get left behind. Bitcoin isn't just the future. It's already here. And so is the biggest Bitcoin event of the year. It's right here, Bitcoin 2025. That's right, the Bitcoin conference is taking over Las Vegas, May 27th through the 29th at the Venetian. They've got an absolutely massive lineup coming your way. Ross Ulbright, JD Vance, Saifedean Ammous, Michael Saylor, and just tons more. You do not want to miss this, so grab your tickets today and use promo code SIMPLY for 10% off at checkout. Hey, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp by sharing the Sound Money Gospel and set those notifications for the best in Bitcoin delivered to you daily. Man, I think we got a wild week ahead of us, so strap the fuck in, ladies and gentlemen. Love you guys. Catch you next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.